The best job for Scooter. Mr. and Mrs. Hall's dog had 4 puppies. One puppy had short brown fur and white paws. He went around in circles and barked. Mr. Hall named him Scooter. The Halls gave away the puppies one by one, all except Scooter. For some reason, no one wanted him. "Well," said Mr. Hall, "we can't keep Scooter. We'll just have to find a job for him." "I know," Mrs. Hall said. "I saw an ad in the paper. Steve was looking for a watchdog for his store. Let's take Scooter there." Steve at the store agreed to take Scooter. He showed Scooter where to stand guard. Soon Scooter was tired of standing. He didn't like being a watchdog. Scooter laid down on the floor. Steve heard snorts coming from the front of the store. She was fast asleep. Even when Steve got near the dog didn't lift his head. "A sleeping watchdog!" Steve cried. "This will never do." And he returned Scooter to Mr. and Mrs. Hall's. So you don't like being a watchdog," said Mr. Hall. "I have another idea. The police department is looking for a dog to train. We'll try that." The next morning, Mr. Hall brought Scooter to Officer Arms. Officer Arms put Scooter to the back of the police car, and off they went. Scooter enjoyed the ride. He put his nose near the open window. He smelled lots of exciting things. He was sorry when the ride was over. At the training center, Officer Arms tried to work with Scooter. He called Scooter sit, Scooter stay, Scooter come, but Scooter had a hard time paying attention to the commands. He kept thinking about the police car and the good smells. After a week, Officer Arms returned Scooter to Mr. and Mrs. Hall's. "Scooter's a nice dog," she told Mr. Hall, "but he doesn't want to do police work at all. All he wants to do is ride in a police car all day." So the Halls needed another plan. "Do you remember my friend Frank?" asked Mr. Hall. "He owns a sheep farm." "I forgot about Frank," Mr. Hall said. "Maybe Scooter would like to work with the sheep." Mr. Hall dropped Scooter off at the farm. The next day, Frank started to train Scooter. He heard the sheep, but Scooter didn't listen. He would hide behind a tree or bush. He wanted to play. Finally, Frank found Scooter swimming in the duck pond. "This was the last straw. You don't want to be a herding dog," said Frank. So Frank took Scooter back to Mr. Hall and Mrs. Hall. Then the Halls were worried. They didn't know what job Scooter would like. One day, Mrs. Swim and her son, Bart, came to see the Halls. "My mom says I could get a dog for my birthday," said Bart. Mr. and Mrs. Halls looked at each other. Then Mr. Hall got Scooter from the backyard. Bart looked at Scooter. "He looked like a good dog," Bart said. "What does he like to do?" Mrs. Swim asked. Mrs. Hall answered with a smile. "Scooter likes to ride in a car. He likes to play and swim. He sounds like the perfect dog for me," said Bart. "Can I keep him, Mom?" "Yes, Bart," Mrs. Swim replied. "He'll make a wonderful pet for you." And so the Halls finally found the best job for Scooter.